Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, fellow Cameroonians, and welcome to this very special production. I did promise you that we will be having the Secretary General, the outgoing Secretary General, and undoubtedly the incoming, probably he will be voted into that Secretariat again on the 2nd of June. He's very confident. We have him here today, Mr. Buba Bertrand. Mr. Buba Bertrand, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, you're welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Eddie Bobo.
A lot of people have heard about Buba Bertrand. Who is Buba Bertrand?
Before I answer that question, please permit me to, first of all, use this opportunity to say thank you for all you do for Cameroonians. In fact, your platform has been used to disseminate information, and of course, it's a tool which has been used to mobilize Cameroonians, which is in line with one of the objectives of the Charter, and of course, part of the agenda of the 2-year mandate of the outgoing executive. So thank you very much. Buba Bertrand Fondam is my name. I've been in Doha for more than 10 years now. I hold a bachelor's degree in modern letters, that's English language and literatures in English. I also hold a master's degree in construction, a double major in construction and real estate. Recently, I just applied for a PhD program in project management. Before 3 years ago, I was working as a planning engineer. When Ashgar launched the lean construction, I went in for the certification. And of course, I'm working now as an enhancement management construction implementation engineer with one of the major contractors in Doha. I hold a PMP, I'm a certified project manager as well. I'm a lean construction manager certified as well, and a host of other certifications, including leading and managing people. Buba is married to Dr. Emerencia, and since February 2023, the start of this year. And basically, that's all about Buba. That's a summary about Buba.
Wow, that's a very great profile there. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Cameroonians, I see that there was no mistake in choosing this gentleman to be the Secretary General of this amazing community that we have here in Qatar. With such a profile, he deserves to serve Cameroonians as a Secretary General. Now, let's go into things that concern the community that we have here in Qatar. A lot of people have joined the community recently. We can call them new members into the community, the Cameroonian diaspora community in Qatar. And of course, who would want to know more about the community? You might want to tell us how the community started, from when it started, and how far it has gone.
Thank you very much once again for this question. I think this question is really very important, especially as you said, there are a lot of, we are now 341 as of today in the platform. And there are so many people that are ignorant about the history of CDCQ, where it started. I mean, you understand that it started with CCQ and then metamorphosed to what we have as CDCQ today. Okay. Sometime in 2018, around November, if my memory is still faithful, there were a group of persons that came together, some of whom I can immediately remember. I think you were one of them. Right. Joya Collins was one. Linda was there. And a host of others that were there. I cannot remember immediately.
Right.
Now, we came together to celebrate the Christmas of that year. So, after that celebration, there was an unfortunate incident that happened with one of our brothers, that was Kenji.
Right, right. Okay.
He passed away, and the photo of this gentleman went viral. It came to me, and when I pictured through it, I couldn't make out, and I became so worried that I would be in a country and for this number of years, and I am unable to make out the ID of a brother.
A fellow Cameroonian.
Yeah.
Right.
So it became a burden to me. And so that picture came to me around 11 p.m. By 3 a.m., I couldn't sleep. I just caught up. I drafted a message. In that message, just to summarize, I stated clearly that I think it will be good for Cameroonians to come together so that if something like this happens, we will be able to make out the victim's family.
Great.
Because the message that went around was they're trying to identify the family of this deceased person.
Right.
So we couldn't make it out. So I stated clearly in the message that, guys, it's imperative that we come together as Cameroonians so that if such a thing should repeat itself, God forbid, we would be able to identify the victim's family. So in that group, I made everyone an admin in that group, and I told them, please send this message to all your contacts that you have, Cameroonians that you have, send it to them. Fortunately, they took it upon themselves and disseminated this information, and within a week we had about 139 persons who joined the platform.
Right.
Now, as the group kept growing, there was a need. I saw that Cameroonians were hungry to have a structure put in place. You know, people were like, oh, we need to come together, we need to put things together, we need an administration and things like this. So as people were commenting, I created another group that was called Planning Committee. So in this group, if I notice that you were saying something that is making sense, that can help us build the community, I will take up my phone, call you, and then ask your permission to add you to the group so that together we can have ideas. You know, you bring water, I bring
so there
salt.
was a sourcing of people who contribute.
So you bring water, I bring salt, this one bring Maggi, and we cook the food. So people joined, and there was the need to have this administration.
Right.
And so we of that planning committee decided to come up with a roadmap that would take off from the time that planning committee was formed up to the time we will have a general assembly. So between the time the planning committee was created up to the time we had the general assembly, there was no leadership. We only just appointed roles to people, please do this, so that we can have that general assembly. So we successfully had that general assembly. In that general assembly, the ELECOM was formed. You know, the outgone chairman, the former chairman, His Excellency Bome Jackson, Mr. Bome Jackson, he was the one that chaired that occasion.
Correct.
So there was a call for people who want to join ELECOM to step in. And so people volunteered.
That's the electoral committee.
The electoral committee.
Correct.
People volunteered, and then the electoral committee was formed. When this electoral committee was formed, that was the end of the planning committee that was in place to make sure that the GA was organized. So the ELECOM took over and called for an election. That candidates went in and election was organized. The community started running. We started getting in touch with major stakeholders, tried to publicize ourselves. And when the embassy came here, through Mr. Zetsop Ibrahim, we had to send our credentials through him to take to the embassy, to his boss. He took these documents, went there, and we got a positive feedback from the ambassador himself, stating that it is good that we are coming together, that it's a good thing, and he will want us to keep this spirit and have a one unique organization through which he can be communicating to. If he wants to talk to Cameroonians, he can pass through this organization. So we kept on going ahead with our activities. When that election was organized, Bomi became the president and then presented his roadmap in another GA that was organized. What he thinks he can do, his strategy, and other means through which he can get to the vision and the mission of the community. Now, he was there up to some time when he got an opportunity to leave Qatar. So he left Qatar. But before going, he had a series of meetings with some people which he think they were major stakeholders to, and notify them that he is going and that they should help to support. I remember the statement. He said, support these young ones, these children. That was his statement. He said, please, you guys should give your support to these children so that together the community can grow. So he left, and by virtue of the charter, otherwise called the constitution, Mr. Rene Membenga, the outgoing chairman, took over as, then he was the vice chair. So he took over as the chairperson of the community when Bumi left. Now, we had the opportunity to organize another GA again, where the strategy, the manifesto which the former president, Mr. Bumi, had presented to the GA, he had to reinforce it and then presented it to the GA, which was accepted. And then we left that GA, came back, kept running the organization, following the roadmap which had been set in place. Up till April of 2022, that's last year. Before April, we learned that the Indomitable Lions qualified for the World Cup,
FIFA 2022 World Cup.
So the chairman is part of a group that is created by Labour. All the heads of communities, they are part of that group. So by around 11 p.m., a message came on that WhatsApp group. Congratulations, Cameroonians, for qualifying. There will be a flag raising at Konich. And so we need this number of people to represent each country. They don't want too many people. So it was already late. And then the chairman came and asked, this is what we have had. It's really late. What do we do? Is there anyone that will be chanced tomorrow? Because he said 11 a.m. Is there anyone that will be chanced tomorrow morning? And a few people indicated, including myself. Then we went to Konich, hoisted the flag, joyfully celebrated. And we were just doing what we used to do. We were not doing it to get a good name. It's part of our responsibility.
Correct.
I say so because people interpreted it differently, like we wanted to show off, but it's not like that.
That's
we had a roadmap. We have been able to represent Cameroon and even the embassy in major places. It's what we were just doing. Now, when we raised this flag, it became like a bone of contention to a group of people who sprang up and then decided to challenge the status quo of the then CCQ. Now, ask them why. They said CCQ was created without their approval.
Oh, approval.
Yeah. So that the group came up, they did not inform or them and get their approval for the group to function. That was the only cry, and that they felt disrespected. I don't know how, I cannot explain. So from that, before that April, up till April, the group plunged itself in a very serious crisis that affected it up till now that I am talking with you. So the pressure was too much, and a group came up, CDCQ came up and said they felt challenged that they were existing before. So they felt challenged that we just came and created another group when they were in existence. And then we were asking, but you were in existence, then things were happening like this and nobody had an idea. Okay, what's the way forward? They said they want to be recognized. And then since the pressure was too much, this is nobody's property, so we accepted, okay, let's see how we can manage the situation. And what was it? We decided to come to a truce and form what we call the Memorandum of Understanding. In this Memorandum of Understanding, it was stated clearly that both parties can give up their names and maybe the structure so that they can fit in and form one structure. That is when the name CDCQ was born or formed, which is Cameroonian diaspora community in Qatar. It's not a...
let me ask you something.
Yes,
Let me
please.
cut to there. When you were making an introduction of what we have today as CDCQ, I did not hear you say something about CDQ, which is Cameroon Diaspora in Qatar. And perhaps you want to tell us that you did not have any idea of the existence of something like Cameroon Diaspora in Qatar. And if so, if you have an idea that they were existing, how come we came up with the CCQ? Maybe you might want to make people understand that.
There was...
Except you don't know that there was a group called CDQ.
In the first, the very first thing is that there was no formal official organization for Cameroonians in Qatar. That is what I know.
Okay.
There was no formal official organization called CDQ. It was, I was shocked myself. It was only during when CCQ had gone to a certain level that I saw they brought an invitation to us to attend a certain camp together for Cameroonians, and that is where I saw Cameroonian Diaspora Qatar.
Maybe some people may want to tell you that you do. I mean, you are ignorant of that, of their existence. There are a lot of people who will tell you that there was something called Cameroon Diaspora in Qatar. And from the defense, a lot of people were bringing in when there was a creation of CCQ. They said, it's okay, we have CCQ. It came up because this group called CDQ we went to slumber, we can use that word, and that's why we came up, this group that you introduced came up with another group called CCQ to be able to help Cameroonians in Qatar. Okay. Any idea about that?
I have no objection against that, but I want you and Cameroonians to understand that the chairman, the then chairman of the CDQ was part of those who give birth, was a pioneer member of those who give birth to CCQ. I mean, I'm referring to the dean, Mr. Mustafa. Okay. He was part. There was no meeting that was organized in his absence. He was part and a parcel of the formation, organization, and the structure of CCQ.
And from what I know personally, that is one of the backbones of Cameroon Diaspora community in Qatar, who became part of CCQ creation.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. So how come we got all the statements were going here and there that CCQ was created without the knowledge of members of
this is what
CDQ?
This is actually what baffles me and many others, because
and of course that should be the leader.
And that should be the leader.
Yes.
Of course, he was the leader.
He was a leader.
He was a leader of the CDQ, and was, in fact, when this idea of creating CCQ was next, I took my phone, I called him, I said, "Pa, this is that." He said, "This is very good." And when we had the first meeting...
Okay, you were calling him as who?
Sorry?
For what reason? I mean, did you recognize him as somebody?
I had no idea first that a certain formal setup as CDQ was existing. However, I knew that he was one of the influential Cameroonians, one person that has lived here for a very long time.
Very good.
So, of course, if you want to do something like that, you have to check those who have been in it, like in the place for a very long time, resource persons, so to speak. So I contacted him as someone that has been here for a very long time. So the first meeting we had, in fact, if there was any meeting that he missed, it should not be more than 1 or 2. But all the meeting he has been there, including discussing about the constitution which CCQ used and CDCQ is still continuing to use
today. Great.
So he was the leader of CDQ. So if he joined us, it means that there was no existence. In fact, when I called him, he told me I should get in touch with Poland. There were a number of names which he mentioned. He introduced me. Call this person, get this document for him. There's a list of Cameroonians, but we're not bothering about that list because many years after Cameroonians had left, so the list he had will not be valid. So up to when we had that memorandum of understanding, the community has been in haphazard manner. Things were not really, to be candid with you, things have not really been moving because this group of people sprang up and puncture every effort, every sacrifices that the outgoing ESCO was making.
Thank you very much, Mr. Buba Bertrand, the outgoing Secretary General of CDCQ. And having answered that question very wonderfully, I'm sure that everybody who never had idea of what the Cameroonian community in Qatar is all about will get the full story at this point. And now we will be going into something else. Of course, it has been a bone of contention in our community, and it concerns the World Cup tickets that were given to Cameroonians by the Cameroonian government. Gave a good number of tickets to Cameroonians in Qatar to use those tickets to get into the stadiums and support the Indomitable Lions during the games of the World Cup. And there are a lot of stories surrounding these tickets. Maybe you want to let us understand how the tickets got to Cameroonians, who received the tickets, and how the tickets were distributed.
Okay. Thank you very much again for this particular question, which is almost
tearing
the community apart. Some people are taking it as an advantage to want to tear the community apart. Months before the organization of the World Cup, the communications department of the embassy in Saudi contacted us and asked us how ready are we as Cameroonians in Qatar to receive the Indomitable Lions, and what we can offer to make sure that Cameroonians who will be coming from all over the world have a nice stay here.
Right.
So that letter was, we replied. The letter was followed with the presence of the ambassador who came here himself. And
which ambassador is that? Saudi Arabia?
In Saudi Arabia.
That's a Cameroonian?
Yes. The Saudi Arabia, Cameroonian embassy to
Saudi Arabia.
To Saudi.
Okay.
So he came here himself and then invited us. We went there, and the list of, he said he needed group leaders. Mm-hmm. The list of those who attended that meeting was decided by the dean, by Mr. Mustafa.
Okay.
So he composed that list and shared to us. So we went for that meeting, and some of us were bothered about, because they had not been here for some time, so we were bothered about knowing when they were going to come. So the ambassador introduced the topic of the discussion and said he knows that we have challenges, administrative challenges, but that he wants us to discuss about preparation for the Indomitable Lions to come to Qatar. Mm-hmm. And he just told us that for anything administrative, we should get in touch with the conseiller,
okay,
and discuss that with him.
Mm-hmm.
So, but the focus that evening was about World Cup and how we're going to plan for it.
Right.
So he just told us to do something and then send to him. So we left, that 10 of us, we left that day, and a day after we had a meeting at the outgoing chairman's office where we drafted the activities we think will be good for Cameroonians, and then with an assigned budget to it.
Okay.
So I sent it to by email to the embassy. I sent it to them, and they wrote to us that they have received it, they will get back to us. Okay. So later on, the ambassador came again and asked that we should come back and discuss. We went there, and he said he hopes that there is something for us, but he doesn't know exactly what it is, like as in how much it is, but that we should just be alert. And that was the day the Indomitable Lions were entering Qatar.
Okay.
So he said we should get ready now and go to the airport to receive the Indomitable Lions. So we left there, and on our way to the airport, they told me they already left, that there will be no need for us to go to the airport. We should just go directly to the hotel.
Okay.
So we came to the hotel, waited there, and they came joyfully. Cameroonians welcomed them, and Cameroonians came out through a communique which we sent out, that they should come out and let's welcome the Indomitable Lions. So that same evening, the dean came to us. The chairman was there and myself. He said he needed that Etofis has asked that we submit a list of Cameroonians that they want to issue us tickets. This is very important, and I want Cameroonians to note this.
Right.
So we said, okay, now it's already very late. Eto says he needs it now or tomorrow morning. So it's already...
It was a kind of emergency.
So it was very late. Now, what was the best thing for us to do? We said, okay, since we have the database of Cameroonians that have registered, it will be best to just present that list to him. In addition, okay, this was a strategy. We said we're going to share that list on our platform, and anybody whose name is not there should submit the details to the General Assembly representative. Yeah. So we submitted, we sent the list on the platform, and those whose names were not there contacted the GARO, because I asked him to do the task since I was praying to take my exam. So he did that throughout that night with assistance from a few persons, and they came out with a list of 400 or more. We now visa this list and then gave it to the dean, who took it to Etofis. We sat and were waiting up till the night of almost, I think, 1 day to the March evening. That was when tickets came, and the ticket was 100 and something. We submitted 400 names, and 100 and something tickets came. So how were we to manage these tickets? How were we
looking at the number of Cameroonians you have in the group and registered?
We said, okay, we are going to give it to first batch, and if we have some other ticket, we are going to give it to another set of people. And in fact, the criteria for giving out the ticket was not decided by the SG. No. Remember that I was only the SG. So when the ESCO decides, I take it down and I share with the people. I'm saying so because people are now using it as a campaign strategy to weigh the outgoing ESCO down or to rub down my personality. Yeah, this is not true. We're giving 100 and something tickets, and we submitted 400 names. So the criteria for issuing these tickets to Cameroonian was determined by leadership, not by an individual. And when it was decided, I said it on the platform. And the next day, Cameroonians came out, we issued the tickets. Now, when the second batch of tickets came, it came about same time as well, very, very late. With the second match, I only got information from Poleng that the tickets are available. So I went there, and I mean, just to add that, one of the criteria was that we were going to give some of the tickets to subgroup leaders.
Okay.
So we looked at, okay, let's say Abakwa. We looked at the size of Abakwa, and we'll issue a certain number of tickets. We look at the size of veteran, we issue a certain number of tickets, and so it was for other groups. Okay. So we issued these tickets to them. I was even very worried that people were agitating and talking about tickets. These subgroup leaders will not even like indicate that, oh, like they received it. And I mean, try to calm down. The same people that are agitating are part of the groups to which the group they are managing. So the second batch came. I wasn't privy to be the one to share. They told me, I mean, Poleng and Mustafa, get your own ticket and go. Get your own ticket. So I collected my own ticket and I left. How it was shared, I had no idea. But for the first set, I was part of the people that shared. So this is how this issue of ticket came about. And Cameroonians have twisted the story, giving different narratives that are tearing the community apart. I mean, tickets should not be something that should tear us.
Exactly.
FIFA has come. The tickets are, I mean, just to add that people came to the field without email address, without hire cards. They were expecting to have tickets. So how were you to use that? You couldn't use a ticket without hire cards.
There would be a situation where they would just have to waste the tickets.
I'm telling you.
Yes.
So you don't have email, you don't have hire card. So
and some of those people have the story today that they were refused
the tickets. So they have gone out now and they are saying some things that are not true, that they were refused tickets. and that other people were selling tickets, that there were some people that gave their girlfriend tickets. Let me point it out here that there are people that had connection to the embassy, had connection to Feka Food, had connection to relatives of players.
Correct.
So, I mean, it was they had their tickets. We cannot question them and ask them to give to a particular person.
That's
and
true.
when you see them distributing tickets, we cannot be quick to conclude that the tickets were part of those that came to us as a community. No,
that's good.
It wasn't.
Thank you very much, SG Buba. And I'm sure people are getting the story, and we putting everything straight here. It's just the truth and nothing but the truth. I will be taking you to something else. We don't want to be labeled that particular point. The explanation you've given is enough. So I'll be taking you to another question. And of course, this should concern the presidential candidates, the gentlemen who are going in for the post of the president of CDCQ. And it's no longer news that the CDCQ will be organizing elections of new executive bureau on the 2nd of June.
That's right.
Which is this year. And we're talking about something of less than 3 weeks, maybe less than 2 weeks. And we'll be talking about the position of the president. I'm sure you will not want any kind of person to get to that position, I mean, to be the leader of this community, which you have worked so hard for. We're talking about a leader, a president, who should make decisions. You might want to say something about the election. We have two gentlemen in that position, Mr. Zume Terence and Mr. Xavier Yana.
What I want to say first is that I want to first of all congratulate not just these presidential candidates, but I want to also congratulate all those who have submitted their applications to serve this community. I'm telling you, you must have a very big mind, a very big heart to withstand the pressure that comes with leadership, but also the pressure that comes particularly with managing Cameroonians. Cameroonians are intellectuals.
Correct.
So
That's
you
right.
must your belt, you have to fasten your belt so strong. I think that both candidates are a good match from my personal judgment.
Right.
I have had the opportunity to discuss one-on-one with Zume. He is great as much as Xavier Yana. So both of them are going to be a perfect match or perfect fit. But Cameroonians, it's left for Cameroonians to decide.
To make a choice.
Cameroonians know what they are looking for. So it's left for them to decide. I know who I'm going to vote. I'm sure you know who you are going to vote, as well as other people.
They already know.
Yeah. So they should choose wisely. The integrity of this community has to be protected. The strategy has to be there.
That's true.
So the competence has to be there. The experience, we cannot leave it out, has to be there. So Cameroonians should make this judgment and go out and vote who they want to manage to be at the forefront of this community.
If it happens that the one who will be chosen on that day is not the person you cast your vote for, how will you feel as the person? Like I said, you have worked so hard to have this community at this level with a good number of persons. How will you feel?
The thing is, whoever is choosing is not going to work alone.
That's right.
That means the vice is going to assist. The vice has a say. Other executive members have a say. So he is just the figurehead. And although there are some decisions that he can take single-handedly, but for the most part, it's an executive that will sit and give an approval for him. So I am ready to work with all Cameroonians. Anyone that is willing to rule, to serve, I am willing to work with anyone.
Thank you very much, Mr. Buba Bertrand. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure you are enjoying the program and you're getting a very important message from this gentleman that we have here today. And at this juncture, Mr. Buba Bertrand, we'll be running up the show. And I would only like to give you another opportunity to say a few more last words to Cameroonians here in Qatar.
The first thing is I will want all Cameroonians to come out massively on the 2nd of June this video should go viral. Even if you don't want to share this video, please inform a Cameroonian that knows another one, that knows another, that Cameroonians will be assembling on the 2nd of June at Century Hotel.
Correct.
First thing, to decide on who will be at the top of this community as far as administration is concerned. Secondly, it will also be an opportunity for us to look at some of the challenges that we have. Just to remind that we understand that the embassy will be present. So we want Cameroonians to come out massively. If you have any question for them, please come out and ask. Don't wait when they go and then you start challenging the ESCO that they are not doing their job.
That's very good. That's a very wonderful way to wrap it up. And I'm sure, and one more thing, there are a lot of people who would want to be encouraged out there. It should be a few last words for people who want to, follow your footstep in professionalism and a lot of things. I gathered some information that you are teaching some people privately, and these are Cameroonians. You'll want them to get into positions that you've been to, and why not join you where you are right now? How much more do you still have to do for Cameroonians?
I still have quite a lot, as much as they want me to do. I am a part-time teacher in planning, also a part-time teacher in lean construction. Okay. Lean is what pays now, especially within Ashgar.
You're telling me to come and join you.
If you want to get something from you, if you want to, it's open for everyone. And there are a number of people I have trained. Up to date, I still have classes. Okay. I am not too expert. In fact, what we are saying is in line with the objective. To come out with initiatives that will provide solutions to the challenges that we have. That's the reason why in the outgoing ESCO had what they call strategic group leaders. That's right. These are leaders that are in charge of specialty programs. Okay. Say maybe you are in charge of education. Correct. Everything like what I am doing, part-time teaching, and a host of others falls under. So it's part of the strategy put in place to ensure that Cameroonians have a good life.
Thank you very much, Mr. Buba Bertrand, the outgoing Secretary General of the Cameroonian Community Diaspora here in Qatar, and I continue to say undoubtedly the incoming Secretary General. It was good to have you here today, and thank you for having provided time to grant this interview. And you've just called Cameroonians to be part of General Assembly, which will be on the 2nd of June, and you've got it from him.
Yeah, thank you once again, Eddie Bobo, for providing this platform for me to express myself. Great. And to talk of some of the issues, not all, we have not exhausted all.
Exactly. We'll be having another show, of course. Some of the issues, we can call this first edition. Yes. Yeah, because there's a lot to say. Yeah.
So thank you very much for providing this opportunity. And once again, thank Cameroonians for taking time to listen. And please show up, make yourself available on the 2nd of June. And let's change the face of this community. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Buba Bertrand. Thank you, fellow Cameroonians, ladies and gentlemen, for having viewed this special program today. My name remains Ewana Edmond Elime. This is the first edition because we have a lot to unravel, and we shall be coming up with another show. Ciao. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel.